What's up guys, Eli here, back for a new stuff video. Today is kind of a special one. I'm going to do a label spotlight. I would say a brand new label, not quite brand new. I think they started in 2022, still pretty goddamn new. I got a stack of releases from them and let's talk about it. Now the label in question is, what's it called again? Sorry. Doomed to Obscurity Records. And what makes it kind of special is it's a label that is based in a town that's about, I think, 45, 50 miles from me. And I actually went to high school in this town. So it's a pretty small town. It's a nice small town. Very touristy, very un-death metal. So I picked up a bunch of these releases at my local record store and I was like, cool, who's putting out these old death metal reissues from the mid 90s that I've never heard of? This is cool. What's this label? I see the label on the back, Doomed to Obscurity. So I go, okay, Doomed to Obscurity, that's a label I need to look out for. And I got home and I'm like, I'm gonna look that label up, see if I can learn a little bit about them. They're based, less than an hour away from me. It blew my mind. I did not expect that. So like I said, yeah, from what I've seen, I don't think they have signed, or I don't think they've released any original music yet. These are all re-releases of really obscure, I'm sure everyone's already re-released all that early 90s death metal stuff. This is like mid-90s, like that mid-90s brutal death metal, and it's really good. I've kind of glanced through everything I bought so far, and I'm digging all of it, I gotta say. Not one of these releases to me is a dud, and you guys know I'd be honest if there was. I don't shill for anybody. I don't lie about things. So these are good releases, and that's why I'm talking about them. If I didn't think they were good, I would just not make this video. So you guys know how I work, I think, at this point. We're going to start with Carnal Decimate with Existence Mutilated. This is their very first release, limited to 300 copies. Looks like you're going to need to get this one soon if you want to still get one. There aren't going to be any left. I can't imagine for too long. So, Carnal Decimate. This demo originally came out in 1995. It's a 2022 re-release. They were active from 93 to 97. This was their first and only demo. Salt Lake City, brutal death metal. I liked this one a lot. For brutal death metal, good riffs, lots of riffs, and catchy, memorable riffs. Fans of, I'm getting Suffocation vibes. I know you're thinking, like, what band do you not get Suffocation vibes from that's been done all to hell? But this is from 1995, so this is not the early 2000s or current. This is 95. While Suffocation were still on top of the death metal world. I'm also getting Deicide vibes, which is cool, and I'm getting Deicide vibes on some of these other bands too, which is cool because I feel like nowadays you hear people ripping off all kinds of, and when I say ripping off, I mean it with love. Ripping off with love, Incantation, Entombed, especially those two. You don't hear a lot of people clearly and obviously influenced by Deicide, but I'm hearing it in Carnal Decimate. So if you like Deicide and early Suffocation, this is for you. Now it looks like I don't have their second release yet, but I do have their third. We got Abominant. Now I've known of Abominant for a long time. This is titled Where Demos Dwell, because they have a kind of a play on words on one of their full-length albums called Where Demons Dwell. So Where Demos Dwell, killer artwork, as you can see. This one wins the prize for the artwork out of all of these. So this has two of their demos on it. I've heard of Abominant. I've listened to most of their albums over the years. Their early Wild Rag stuff is fantastic, and their later Deathgasm stuff also really good. So I'll talk about that. So they formed in 1993. They were just a little bit late to the game. That, maybe a couple of setbacks, I think, are maybe the reason why they never really quite became a household name, because they had the talent. Abominant are definitely a cult death metal band, but they're typically thought of as like a third tier, and I think that's a little unfair. I think they could be easily chomping at the bit for first tier death metal. I've always felt that way. So what this has on it is their first two demos. And if you don't know a lot about Abominant, they're from Kentucky. Also maybe a reason why they never made it real huge. And if you look at their Metal Archives page, it'll say melodic death metal. That mostly goes for their their newer releases. And they're not a real melodic band, but I don't know, some melodic lead guitar work, I would say. A nice dose of melody, but it's pretty much straightforward. Kind of Florida sounding death metal, if you ask me. Yeah, kind of Deicide-ish, but more leaning towards your standard brutal death metal. So, and I'm talking early 90s brutal death metal when it was still good. Yo, it's Eli from the future. Going back a couple of days because after I already recorded the video, I picked up yet another Doomed to Obscurity release. I have now all the releases that you can get. I think there's one or two that are sold out. But so what we have, Wicked Innocence from originally from 2001. This is a 2022 repress. Prayer for Those Who Are Prey. This is an EP, the most recent thing they've done, even though it's over 20 years ago. This is limited to 100 copies, and what's cool about that is the original pressing was limited to 100 copies as well. So I thought that was cool how he did another pressing of 100. So Wicked Innocence, death metal band out of Salt Lake City, Utah. They formed in 1988. I think they're still active, but they haven't done anything in over 20 years, at least new music that I know of. They did their debut album was really good. Then they did a second album, which is really good. It's like more experimental and atmospheric, kind of sort of a weird death metal album, but weird in a good way. Then they would go on to do some not so good stuff. I think they were further experimenting, and I'll be honest, that stuff that people consider not very good, I haven't heard it, so I can't give my personal opinion on the not so good stuff. I shouldn't even be saying it's not so good, but from what I've heard, their more recent stuff, in the 2000s, was a return to form. So, yeah, Wicked Innocence, you've likely heard the name. I never really hear anyone talk about them, but definitely check out that second album, and definitely check out this one. I haven't even heard it yet, but here it is. Oh, and by the way, this is catalog number 4. Catalog release number 6, we got Septembris with Diabolic Delusions. I had not heard of this band or this release. So this originally came out also in 95. This is their second demo. This band was active from 94 to 96, Madison, Wisconsin. Brutal death metal. I think this is one of my favorites. I've only really glanced through these releases, so I haven't really listened to all of them, and not in full detail, but I think this is, from what I remembered this morning, this was probably my favorite from this whole stack. Good brutal death metal. Again, we're talking mid-90s when brutal death metal was still pretty much sounding like early Dying Fetus, early Suffocation, early Pyrexia, stuff like that. So if you like any of that stuff, I think this is a must-have. Go track this one down while you still can. Most of these, if not all these, are limited. This one doesn't say, but most of these are limited to 300 or 500. If you like your early to mid-90s brutal death metal, check out Septembris from Madison, Wisconsin. This was pretty awesome, I might say. Catalog release number 7, we got Disgorge. Yet another Disgorge. Not one of the Disgorges you know, though. I assure you. I mean, you might know this one, but it's not one of the big ones that that everyone knows. Originally, this came out in 94. It's a 2022 re-release, like I think all these are. This is the band's second demo. They were active from 91 to 96. Sorry about that. And they are from Sweden. Again, brutal death metal with a little bit of melody. They just a little bit, and it's sparsely used. I'm assuming they were influenced by American brutal death metal of the early 90s, but they were not afraid to use some of their countrymen's influences. So there's a little bit of, just think New York meets Stockholm, or Gothenburg. But the melody is sparsely used. Again, it's mostly in some guitar passages and guitar solos, but for me, it's perfect. Just enough melody to break up the brutality. I actually wish more bands would do that. So, Disgorge, A Spousal Bleeding. Check this one out. This is one of my favorites from this stack as well. catalog release number 8, we've got Convulsion from 1995 yet again. This release is called Wrath on Mankind. A 2022 re-release. First and only demo from this band, active from 91 to 95. They were out of Ohio. Death metal, very raw, very primitive. This is a rough production. This is very much demo production. Don't expect any more than that, but it is obscure and it is cool. I'm still kind of absorbing this one. I like it, but like I said, it's this at least on first glance, this is not my favorite out of this stack, and that's probably not surprising to most people. But I am excited to let it soak in and give it a proper opinion. But not my favorite yet, but there's definitely potential there. So Convulsion, if you like raw, obscure demo death metal, check this one out. And last, catalog release number 9, Disgorge appears again with Strangled. This is their second demo, I think it's their final demo, I could be wrong. Originally released in 95, in case you didn't guess it. Less melody this time, I would say, than that last one. That last one had that melody and some of the guitar work that I liked. This one, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not hearing it on this one. And it's still good. I'm finding myself missing that melody, but this is still, dude, this is upper tier brutal death metal of the mid 90s. I'm not kidding. I dig it a lot. This band, I think, I gotta say, is probably pretty underrated at this point. Underrated as it gets, as far as, only having 2 demos. I don't want to make a big deal out of that, of course. I'm hearing a little bit more, I know I brought up Deicide earlier. I'm hearing a little bit more Deicide, like a little more Glenn Benton in the vocals this time around. At least that's what I'm picking up on, and I don't know which Disgorge demo I like better. I gotta play them a little more, put them side by side. Like I said, I am missing that melody, but this is still upper tier brutal death metal from 95. So. One of these had a business card in there. It was the Abominant. For some reason, there was a business card in this one and not the rest. Not that I care, but it's a nice business card. I don't know if you can scan a picture of a QR code. I don't know how technology works. I only learned how to use QR codes like a year ago. So, but yeah, it's a cool business card. Check out this label. What's it called again? Sorry, I just only learned about it today. Doomed to Obscurity. Of course I'll leave links because you know how good I am about that. I will this time follow through with links. Definitely check them out. I think they have everything in stock I just showed. Plus, I think there's one more release I don't have that is on their website. And then there's 1 or 2 that are sold out. They also have some cassettes. But yeah, you should be able to get any of these. Just right off the bat, I'm going to recommend that Septembrist. I'm going to recommend that first Disgorge, the Abominant. I really recommend them all, but don't take my word for it. Listen to them first. I'm sure you can listen to them on Bandcamp, and the music will speak for itself. You don't need my recommendation. I just wanted to kind of shed some light on this fairly new label, and I don't know if you could tell, but I'm super excited because we don't have death metal labels just sprouting up all over this. I hate, you guys might know this, I hate where I live. I hate North Idaho. I've lived here most of my life, but I hate it. This is just a little bit of happiness for me. I think I deserve it. But anyways, guys, talk to me. Go check these out. Did you know of any of these bands? Abominant are pretty well known, but have you heard any of these? If not, go check them out, and then let me know what you think. And I do hope you place an order. So no, I'm not teaming up with them or anything. I'm doing this just strictly out of my own kindness because I'm really enjoying these releases so far. I'm pretty stoked on them, to be honest. So anyways, guys, Louis says hello. He's taking a nap right there. Now he's looking at me weird, but we will talk soon, all right? Cheers.